Well, in case you didn't know it, Toyota tech kind of sucks. So today we are going to fix up this Tacoma with a brand new touchscreen. Now I partnered with Dasaita on this video because I think that they have the best OEM plus aftermarket touchscreen for the 3rd gen Toyota Tacoma. Now first we're gonna install this. See, is it even that hard? Second, we're gonna go over some of the features and see how it looks in the cockpit to see, is it even that good? And then third, we're gonna see, is the OEM one better or is this better? And is it worth your money? Now, if you want this, go down in the description. I'll leave a link to exactly what we got. Now, before we get distracted with all the wiring, let's quick look at the screen while it's outside of the truck, because I think that this thing just looks absolutely rad. Now, first you'll notice the screen real estate. Left to right literally goes vent to vent. It goes bottom of the plastic to the top of the plastic, and it just gives you so much more square inches than the factory screen. Now, it has a volume knob, which is cool. It feels very similar to like the quality of the OEM one, so not like the world's best. And then it has 2 holes right there, which is an alternative to a wired mic. So we'll go ahead and test that out in a few. Now for the wiring, it gives you some pretty intuitive instructions depending on what touchscreen you have from the factory. Now we have this one, so we do not need this harness, and I'm opting not to install a SIM right there. But we're gonna use all of these harness components. So typical harness components, a USB input, which you'll want for like future updates if you need them, 4G antenna, GPS antenna, the main harness itself, a wired mic, which we are going to compare against those other built-in mics, because I've had some issues with these in the past sounding like a robot, and then an auxiliary cord right there. So let me get this thing wired up and I'll show you how it looks. Now for the wiring, I mean, it looks confusing, but it really is not. Just think of it as the right side harness versus the left side harnesses, which are these two. And you need to make 3 connections. So the cam VIN to the cam in, I'm assuming those are the same. That is a camera line that showed in the wiring diagram. And then auxiliary right and left to auxiliary right and left, and that is it. The only other connection you have to make is the antenna. That is for your radio. And then we have this USB that you will leave back behind the head unit. So nevertheless, let's go get it installed. Now we are wired up and fired up. Now let's look at the cabling, because there are some unused connectors like these 2 right here in line with the antenna. These 2 black ones, this blue and this gray, you will not use in this wiring harness, which is a little weird. Now these 3 white ones are all you connect, as well as this black one back here, and you are good to go. Now definitely test the antenna, because you want to make sure that that is good, like a solid connection, before you kind of close this whole thing up. So I'll close it up and then let's test it out. And I think it's important to test the microphones before I kind of close this entire thing up. So I'm going to test the integral mic versus the external mic, the wired one, in like the position that I would mount it and where this would be sitting. So let's call my wife and I will overlay the actual audio. This is AJ in the Tacoma with the external mic. Now we will disconnect that microphone and we will now go through the integral microphone.
This is AJ in the Tacoma talking through the integral microphone.
I ended up going with the external mic because I think it sounded slightly clearer. Now the cable was easy to route diagonal to the footwell, behind the carpet and to the left side footrest, all the way up to the A-pillar. Now I didn't remove any plastic, just tucked it by pulling small sections at a time. And the mic comes with an adhesive mount that allows you to install it pretty inconspicuous. All right, guys, now that we have it fired up, let me go over a super high level video. I may do one in like 6 months to let you guys know if like any weird stuff happens with it. But like my initial impressions is, first, the fitment is perfect. The touchscreen itself looks like an iPad. Like, it's almost crazy how nice this display is. It's awesome. It is so cool to have, and to have like a physical volume knob is really, really nice to have. So pretty cool software. This is the Android operating software. I have had Dasaitas with a Vivid operating software. Both are cool. I personally think the Android is like a little bit snappier. This thing is just super, super snappy, like an iPad, literally. So as it's an Android operating software, there's a lot of customizable like features. For example, you can move anything around between pages that you would like, get this thing to like really lay out exactly how you want it. But here is your home screen. So first, we have Apple CarPlay. Obviously it is wireless Apple CarPlay. My phone is not hooked up. So this truck came with Apple CarPlay. Other Tacomas do not. So this would be an awesome reason to buy this touchscreen if you are looking for Apple CarPlay. Now for responsiveness, I'd say like this is equally as responsive as my Toyota Tundra that has brand new Apple CarPlay from the factory, and it just functions perfect. Like it's really, really cool to have, especially on a display size this big. On the main screen, there is also an amplifier. Now this is a JBL equipped truck, which has pretty good speakers, but like, let me tell you, this was the thing I noticed the most is like when you can use a custom equalizer and really dial in these speakers, it's like ludicrous how much better it is than the factory. And you have a variety of options to like super dial in your speakers. So that's like a huge, huge game changer over factory. Now, aside from that, like we'll use the radio, pretty intuitive, pretty clean and classy. I like the way that this kind of looks. And then, I mean, that's kind of it for like functions that we'll actually use. I mean, there's dozens of apps that are a little pointless. Like I'm not here to use a calculator in my truck. So like it's just a typical Chinese touchscreen where they load them up with a variety of apps. Now, you'll see that there are a handful like YouTube, Netflix, Hulu that you could use if you had a SIM card. And I've heard that you can like watch movies while you drive. I'm not going to upload a SIM card. I'm not going to connect this to my hotspot. I don't have any intentions for that. But yes, this functions where you can connect a SIM card and like literally use the internet on here if you wanted to as well. And then as always with Android units, there is a ridiculous amount of like customizable options from like the wallpaper. You can upload your own. You can use some of these automated ones as well. You can come in here and you can even change like the LED color that is in the steering wheel button. So you can make it any color, and with a little bit of work, you can actually manipulate it to match all of these other knobs perfectly, which is super nice. And then you can manipulate a couple of the reverse settings. So that is what the reverse camera looks like. The factory camera kind of sucks. This just makes it like way bigger, but it's a much more pleasant display to look at when you're in reverse. So that's kind of it, you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. And then again, we're going to do a review in a couple months and see how this thing still performs. So the last question of the night is it worth your money? And in my opinion, yeah, I mean, it sure beats this thing. It unlocks a ridiculous amount of features. It really modernizes the interior of this older generation Toyota Tacoma. And I think it's just a good buy. If it was my truck, I would buy it and I would ditch this as fast as possible. So if you liked this video today and me modding my buddy's truck for free, comment down below what you would like to see next, and maybe we'll treat him to some more parts. Till the next one, peace out.